Hi guys, I gotta finish making my to-do list. Hold on. I haven't set up the iPad yet. Ay, ay, ay. It's been a crazy morning. Okay, first I gotta tell it not to go to sleep. Never. Then I gotta find myself. Which sounds like I'm having a midlife crisis, I know. I'm not really. Oh, there I am. Oop, and turn the sound off, because holy cow, nobody wants to hear that. All right. Hey, Eve. Hey, Josie. All right, now we're going to set this up over here. Okay, wait, bear with me. Yes. I got it. Let's see. I'm making my to-do list. For the day. I haven't done it yet. Okay. Watercolor Gypsy, hello. Glenda, hello. Good morning, everybody. All right, so today is a crazy day. You know, I thought my life was crazy enough when I was working on the book and then at the same time working on the stamp line. And then I finish both of those and then I start on some minor remodeling in the house. Like, holy cow, what the heck am I thinking? Oh, yeah. All right, so quick. Hello, Lisa Swank. Hello, that girl, Tatiana. Hello. Really quick question for you all. First of all, everybody, hopefully the picture and sound is good for everybody. Hey, Cody. Hey, Amy. I literally ran out of time this morning to check, do a speed test, so hopefully we're good. Non-watercolor related question. All right. So anybody else have like a bunch of old business cards that have expired information on them? So you can't really give them out. What do you do with them? None of them have my personal home address on them or anything, but I can't really use them for business because they have expired information on them, so they don't work. I do give them out in an emergency occasionally, but I have to stop doing that because I have plenty of the new ones. So, and I obviously have, this is a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. What do I do with them? Anybody have any ideas? Let me know. At this point, art-related things are probably not a great idea because I have too much like art supplies already, but I don't know what to do with them. Great. Yay, I'm glad they all, everything looks good. Maybe ATCs. There's a lot. There's thousands of business cards. Thousands. That's a lot even for me. And even though they have expired information on them, I'm considering business trading cards. Yeah, I'm considering, I don't know, gifting some of them. You guys, some of them are nice, non-glossy matte cardstock, and maybe you guys could use them for tags or something. I don't know. I don't know what to do with them. Yeah, I might just recycle them. They don't have my personal home address on them. They do have my phone number. Not that that's a big deal. It's out everywhere in the world anyway. So I could just put them in the recycle bin. We do have a shredder. So I may just spend 10 minutes today putting them in the shredder. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Cody, is maybe keep a stack, put them in my box of like tag making stuff, and then just putting the rest through the shredder. That's what I'm thinking. All right, today, let's do fun stuff. I haven't hardly done art in like a week, you guys. Maybe that's why I'm a little bit frantic and I either can't sleep or I'm sleeping too much. Because yeah, things are just crazy. There's just too much going on, and you have to meet with contractors and this and that, and there's just too much to squeeze. I don't have even 5 minutes to do art in. I'm so behind on my doodles. I'm going to shoot a quick video about that at some point, but I may just carry them, my little doodle book, over into December. That's a good idea to ask Lindsay. Hey, Della. Okay, so we're going to play with water-soluble crayons today. We're going to do watercoloring, but we're not going to use watercolor paints. Now, this stack of journals I have in front of me, I wanted to share with you. These are some options that you have for watercolor journals if, like me, you like to do most of your artwork and mixed media in a journal for lots of different reasons. If you haven't seen my little share video that I posted to Facebook recently, I literally have stacks of finished and unfinished canvases. And one of the reasons I started art journaling was because those canvases and loose sheets of matted paper, they start adding up really quick. And if you aren't careful, there won't be any room in your house to live. So I was really attracted to the idea of working in a journal, in a book that I could finish and then stick on the bookshelf. So I started art journaling. This stack in front of you, these are pre-made store-bought watercolor journals. So we are going to work on some different kinds of media in the coming weeks. Water-soluble media, maybe mixed with a little bit of watercolor paint, but not today. And watercolor painting. And we're going to work in these books. These are from the stock I already had. And I'm going to just go over them really quickly. This is a Moleskine watercolor journal. And this is a little small one. Does it say how big it is? Maybe in little teeny print that I can't read. 14 by 9 centimeters. 5.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Now, this is a small size that I like to keep for use when I'm traveling because it's little and it packs well. So this one we probably won't work in because of that. But I have this one, which I believe is also a Moleskine. Yeah, this is also a Moleskine. It's I'm not sure if this is, yeah, it's watercolor paper. So I have it in 2 different sizes. So we'll work on the bigger one on camera, but not the littler one. I'm going to save for when I need a new travel journal. Then these 2, I believe, are both from Hobby Lobby. One was gifted to me and one I bought. This one is handbook journal. I got this on clearance. It was $7.79. And it is 5.25 inches by 8.25 inches. This has got seems like really nice paper in it. You never really know for sure though until you start working in them. This one is, I believe, also from Hobby Lobby. I think this is the one that was gifted to me, and this is a watercolor journal filled with handmade paper. Now, I'm not sure if the paper is cotton or paper pulp. I don't know, but it's got this really great like handmade edge. So it's another one that we'll be working in, and we may be working in 2 or 3 of these at the same time. And then this one is one I just got recently. This is a Strathmore soft cover watercolor journal. It's 140-pound paper, and it is 7.75 inches by 9.75 inches, and it's got some Series 400 watercolor paper in it. So we are going to be working in some of these. I'm going to pick a couple of them to work in today. And then as far as water soluble, love the journals with the red poppies. These, yeah, I've heard good things about this, and so we're going to try it. Okay, so I'm just reading the comments. That's great, and Beck's Creations. No, if you guys have any now, I haven't gotten there quite yet, but if you guys have any tips for the audience as far as watercolor mediums that great black pens or anything like that we can use with our watercolor journals that are on sale right now, on clearance especially, whether physically at a store or online, let's post them in the chat for everybody, because this is the time of year when that kind of stuff goes on sale. So we're going to be working with the crayons today, and probably a pencil and maybe a little bit of black pen, but let's go over what kind of crayons we're going to use. Now, I have a lot of different kinds of water-soluble crayons. We're probably going to have to do 2 or 3 videos trying different ones, because I kind of have a hoard of water-soluble crayons, and I don't think we can get them all in one. We'll try. These are probably the least expensive. I think they're like $3 or $4 for the set of 8. These are Target Up and Up watercolor gel crayons. They come in a very minimal amount of colors. They smudge very nicely. They are water soluble. They're not the best pigmented on the planet, but I do like them. These are by Maped Helix. These are their gel crayons, which are supposed to be water soluble. Now, I do think I tested them a while back, and I just don't even remember. I don't remember how they, so we'll work on them. I need a cough drop. Hang on. Okay. Too much dust around my house. These are the Recollections Color Splash watercolor crayons. They look very similar. Helix crayons and a couple of others that I have. When you open them, they almost look like they're made by the same company, in my opinion, and just have different labels on them. But we're going to try them. They come in obviously more colors. I have Distress crayons. I have 3 packs. I don't know if they have any other colors out or not. I do love these. I've heard good things about the Lyra crayons. Hello, NA122. Hello, good morning. And good morning, Patricia. Okay, I also have, this box has Prima water-soluble oil pastels and portfolio oil pastels. Now, they're not a watercolor crayon. They're an oil pastel that happens to be water-soluble. So whether we use them today or not, I'm not sure. We may use them in a different video. Now, with a lot of these materials, because they're either oil pastels or they are, oh, see, thanks, Cody. Now I'm going to have to go look for the other 3 sets that I don't have. Because a lot of these are either waxy or in this case of these, oil-based mediums, even though they're water soluble. In many cases, you can't easily draw or paint over them after you have these on the page. You can paint over them sometimes with acrylic paint, but not necessarily write over them easily. So you want to know that and do some test pages and see what works for you with the materials you have and what doesn't. I also have the complete set of Neocolor 2 crayons. Yes, I know, the complete set. Yeah, you weren't hearing me wrong. A lot of these are available in open stock, which is how I started collecting them. And, you know, you just, like my watercolor paint collection, you get 1 or 2 at a time until you have all the colors you want or the complete collection. I don't use these nearly enough, but they are fabulous, and we probably will be using some of them today. I have them out just in case. I also own 10 of the Daniel Smith watercolor sticks. And these are basically watercolor watercolor pigment in a sticker crayon form. These are fabulous. They're artist grade watercolors. So for the most part, they have great light fastness. So I definitely recommend them. The only beef I have about these is they don't come in enough colors. All right, so now we gotta clear all these off. Yeah, the Neocolor 2s are opaque. They're not very transparent or clear. They do seem kind of hazy or cloudy. I agree with that. Hey, Teresa. Okay, so let's pick a journal to work in, and let's, you know what, let's work in this one first. I haven't done anything with this one. I don't know if you're supposed to paint on that first page or not, but we're going to anyway. We need a pencil, and we'll probably need a pen because, you know, that's how I roll. Let's get out a white one just in case. All right. Yeah, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. And if you can and want to support my channel, go please do so by shopping in my Etsy shop. All right, there's a few different ways you can use, you know, your water-soluble crayons. You, of course, can mix them with your acrylic paint. If you're going to do something over them, that's the best way to do it. You can let them dry and coat them with clear gesso and then go over them. But I do recommend experimenting with them and seeing what works for you. We're going to just do some like easy shapes today. You know, and I'm not even sure I'm going to start with pen work. Let's see. I'm just going to do some, we're going to do flowers because I feel like I'm in a flower mood. So I'm just drawing. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see because I don't think you can see very well. Okay. Basic shapes. Table is a disaster again. My table's always a disaster. Who am I kidding? All right. So we're going to use my rag. Okay, so I have a Princeton Select brush. This is a pointed filbert. Can you see that? It's got this really cool tip on it. It's like a cross between a, you know, really sharp pointed round and a flat. It's the coolest brush. So we're going to work with that a little bit today. I don't know, made up flowers. I'm thinking maybe a poppy shape. So we're going to see what happens with that. Now, like with anything else, we're going to start with our lighter colors and work our way darker. And I think I want to work, see, let's try the Maped Helix and see what happens. So I'm going to grab the red. And one of the ways, of course, you can draw this on there and then activate it with water. And if you don't mind the crayon marks, then that's fine, because a lot of these won't completely dissolve and they'll leave crayon marks. If you don't like the crayon marks, then another way you can use these, at least some of them, we'll see how the Maped Helix do, is to get your wet brush and rub it against the tip of the crayon. And when you're putting together your like travel watercolor kit, you know, an easy way to add some, you know, interesting media to your kit is to add a few of these crayons, especially if you don't have or don't want to have a, you know, a watercolor palette and don't want to carry lots of paint around. You can add a few extra colors to your palette by just having a few of these crayons in. And you, of course, can draw with them, but you can also, no, I forgot what I was going to say because I looked at Teresa's comment. You can also draw with them, but you can use them as paint too. I'm anxious to see how these kind of all work together because I don't know that I've ever done that on a painting. And I started with the Maped Helix because this is a like kids craft quality water soluble crayon, which means they're inexpensive, but also generally means they're not super pigmented. So I kind of knew this red would be like light colored. And so I was okay with that. It's okay. Hey, Kathy. So we're starting with the Maped Helix. Now, I've never, that I know of, seen the Maped Helix in a store. They sent me these crayons. Most of these crayons I bought, the exceptions being the portfolios. I'm sorry, the Primas and the Maped Helix. Those were sent to me by the manufacturers, so we can properly disclose all of that stuff. I've swatched the crayons, but it was a long time ago. And right now my entire like front room is packed, which includes our watercolor reference book. I don't know. I have no idea what box it is. I knew one of you guys was going to ask that question. So these are the Maped Helix, and you get some color from them. You get more color if you, of course, draw them on the page than you do if you do it from the crayon. Now this is a little bit different brush. This is a Royal and Langnickel Zen brush, and it's a really short, like scrubby filbert brush. So when I draw it directly on the page, I like this because I can get rid of most of the crayon marks. And really dissolve the crayon. Now that's just the Maped Helix crayon. Oh, that's good to know, Della. So around here in California, that I haven't really seen them. So to start with, we're gonna stick with these bright ones. I'm going to go with the pink one. These are the distress crayons. Now, like the other crayons, you can, of course, you do them the same way, and you can pick them up from the crayon. You can draw with them on the page. Generally speaking, if you do this way and you pick it up from the crayon, you usually get like less pigment on the page, as you can see there. But if you draw it on, look what happens. So if you're in doubt, if you haven't done your swatches, you're not sure how they're going to react, do it this way rather than immediately drawing it on the page. But even if you mess it up, what's the difference? We're practicing. And I can tell you right now, I like that working on this paper, but it's warping like crazy. I can tell you that already. Now this is a bright, warm color, so I'm going to keep it to the same side of these little abstracted flower shapes on all of the flowers. I do want to, let's see, hang on. Okay, I do want to do this. Now I'm going to take some of this distress crayon and I'm going to put it on my plate. I'm just literally just coloring it on the plate. I'm going to add some water. You should swatch your colors first if you can. Okay. Oh, Ian's here. Hey, Ian. The distress crayons are fabulous. They blend really well and they're super pigmented, more than the others like the Maped Helix. I'm a fan of the distress crayons. Now I'm going to go into my sort of abstracted flower shapes, and this red, while still a fairly warm color, is cooler than the pink. So I'm going to pick some of the spots on the flower that I think I want to be cooler. Now you do kind of have to work quickly with this distressed crayons because it sits on there too long and then you can't move it around. I do like them. I mean, this is, look at this distressed crayon red as compared to the Maped Helix red. I mean, talk about brighter and more pigmented, but also more expensive. Are they worth the money? Yeah, I think so. I like them. Art junkie, so, you know, take them for what it's worth. I don't know. So swatching the colors, by swatching the colors, I mean actually taking each one of your crayons. I'll show you, wait. Let me grab some watercolor paper. Here's a piece. What is this? This is a piece of Fabriano, 300 pound. I probably ought not to use that for swatches. Here's a piece of 140 pounds. So this is just a little piece of paper. So what I mean is you take each one of your colors and you just draw a block of the color. And then you come back with water and you water activate at least half of it so you can see what it looks like straight from the crayon, but also after it's been activated with water, what color you're going to get. And if you do it right and you do colors that blend well together, the other thing you can do is blend the colors across to see how they blend together. And you do a swatch like that. Yeah, we're going to be doing pencils in a coming up week, Ian. That's a whole different, we're going to just focus on one at a time. We'll probably do of the different kinds of crayons I have, and then we'll do 2 or 3 of the pencils. Okay, so I like that. I do think I want to add some of this kind of olivey green color to it. Do that. And you're welcome. There's lots of kinds of watercolor crayons out there. I don't want you guys to feel like you have to have any one particular brand. You may already have some in your stash of stuff. I just want to give you an idea of what you can do with them besides just adding them to the edges of your mixed media pages or, you know, that sort of thing. You can do a lot with them. And of course, you can do a lot with them in conjunction with, you know, acrylic paint and stuff like that. So just, you know, the more waxy it is, the less likely it is that you're going to be able to easily go over the top of it. So be aware of that. Okay, so that's that. Let's try something different. And let's try a neo color. Let's see. I think I want to add some purple. I know, purple. So this is aubergine, which is my favoriteest color in the Neo Color 2s. It's like a dark dioxazine purple, which I love, 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 love. So we're going to add some of this. And you may find with some of these that you want to activate the crayon, and then maybe others you don't. Maybe sometimes you want to leave the line. Yeah, the Recollections are glittery. They're fabulous. I love them. It was hard for me to get them because like none of the stores near me had them in stock. So that was a pain in the neck. Plus, there's a whole not being able to breathe inside of Michael's, because it's either their crayons or their potpourri, or like right now, the cinnamon candles. And I think almost every store I've been into, with the exception of the one where my little sister's girlfriend Tiffany works in Washington State, they all have really bad ventilation. Okay, I like that. Let's put some brightness in the stems. This is the, what color is this? Spring green. Now, most of the time with your Neocolor 2s, the color is really going to brighten up and pop when you get it wet. So just be aware of that. All right, let's see. I think it's time to start working on the flower centers. So I'm going to start with the Recollections in the silvery color. Yeah, so it's the cinnamon scented pine cones. I have a big problem with them. They make me wheeze. Yeah, I love aubergine, the eggplant, dark purple eggplanty color. And it's, you know, there's also the dioxazine purple in some brands, which is not quite the same, but, and then Liquitex has another one too. I love that sort of eggplanty purpley color. Love it, love it, love it. I'm going to start with this Target Up and Up gel crayon to make my centers darker. I had to stop working at Michael's in part because of the smell of the pine cones. Thanks, Kathy. Well, I love doing art, and, you know, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, you know, we decided in all my crazy wisdom, not, to do some, you know, repainting and things inside the house, you know, right before the holidays, which has made my life a little bit more stressful. And I literally haven't done art in a few days, like till the other day where I did the watercolor, the crocheted coasters. I haven't done any. It's driving me crazy. Yeah, so all of those, to answer some unasked questions, all of those items that you're talking about, the pine cones, the citronella, the candles, the potpourri, now that I have asthma, they all bother me. So I actually don't shop in a physical store unless I have to. And when I do, I hold my breath a lot, which is probably not a great thing. So these are Daniel Smith watercolor sticks. And they literally work like the other ones in that you can, you know, just draw on your paper. Let's see. They didn't have a Payne's Gray, which kind of bummed me out when I picked these. They do have I do have Moon Glow. Let's see. The paper is getting really wet, so I'm being a little bit gentle with it. And we're going to dry it in just a minute. Probably. Let's see. Yes, it is bleeding through just a little bit. I'm going to turn the page over and show you all in a minute. So this is interesting paper to work on, but you're not going to be able to do double-sided paintings. You're going to just want to do single-sided, and I probably should stick a piece of deli paper back there. Okay, so here is let's see. There we go. Yeah, so I just, it's not worth the coughing and the wheezing and the having to take all the medication. So I just don't, wear lots of perfume anymore. I don't have lots of smelly candles in the house anymore. I avoid those sections of the store, or just avoid shopping when I can, to be honest. I do stuff by mail order. My husband gets tired of me holding my breath at the store. He says it's not good for me. All right, let's dry this. Now, if you're working on paper you're unsure about, or paper that you know is not watercolor paper, before you do anything else on top of the paper with a pen or a pencil, make sure you dry the paper thoroughly, or that you let it dry thoroughly. The Daniel Smith are fabulous. I just wish they made them in more colors. That would be my only gripe. Okay, so I'm going to take my Pilot Varsity pen. So explain more about what you mean, Ian, because I'm not sure I get it. So I wasn't real sure about what kind of flowers we were drawing or painting, and now I'm just kind of following the lines that we got in the paint. I'm keeping it, loose and sketchy. There's a few. I'm going very lightly on the paper because it does turn out that there's a few wet spots, which is, the pen is going to bleed, but I'm okay with that. You mean when you go over it with pencil, you get the texture of the paper? The pencil doesn't go into all the little textury spots in the paper. Usually sketch paper is pretty flat with no texturing on the surface. But I mean, I like loose, messy sketches, so I don't know that that would bother me. I've never had that happen though, unless I'm, sketching on paper that's like watercolor paper. So the charm of these loose kind of abstracted designs is to keep it loose and keep it sketchy. And I'm sorry, I just got distracted because my husband is texting me. Oh, hold on. And I think it might be important. Okay. I just have to tell him, okay. All right. Now, you know, I always am telling you guys this. Remember, we're mixed media artists. For us, what does that mean? There's no rules. So who says you can't do a little watercolor painting with your water-soluble crayons and or oil pastels and then add some pen work or pencil work to it? Who says you can't do that? And if they do say that, why are you listening? So I'm going to go in here and see if I can make some of our pen bleed on purpose. I might need to use that other brush. Where's that other brush? Now, the problem with the Pilot Varsity brush is if you leave it sit on there too long, it can dry and not move too much, depending on the paper you're using and what it's written on top of. It's moving a little bit. Okay, then we're going to go in with our white gel pen. No, first we're going to dry it again. That's not wanting to write on there. I love this. Is just your standard Doris heat embossing tool. It wasn't expensive. I bought it years ago when I was still scrapbooking at Michael's, and I used a 40% off coupon. It's the best thing on the planet, to be honest. I don't know how to explain that, Ian, except to say, you know, it's YouTube. And I usually sketch on Bristol vellum. I love the super smooth texture of the paper. And when you scan it, you're not distracted by the texture. Now, because I'm trying to write over these water-soluble crayons, this white gel pen's not really doing very much, so let's get out a paint pen. This is what I was talking about. When you're working on top of these crayons, sometimes you have trouble. I have to activate this pen. It's been sitting for a while. Sometimes you have trouble driving over the top of them. I've heard good things about Aqua Bee paper. Yeah, see, that's much brighter. And if you get some in there that you don't like, I'm not so sure I like all of these. Let's see, where's that black crayon? Okay, so I like this. It's cute, but I do think it needs brightening up a bit. You know, you can really overthink these things. Now, this is a Prima oil pastel. Once I put this on here, I can guarantee you're not going to be able to do anything over it. It's not going to stick. It is water soluble. They're opaque. They do smell. They do have an odor. They smell like oil paint. Well, oil pastels. So, you know, if that kind of thing bothers you, then I would say stay away from these because they're going to really bug the crud out of you. But of all the things I have on the table, they're the most pigmented and the most opaque. You can see, look at these. Now, I equally like, I think the Primas and the Portfolios are equally good. So whichever one you can afford or easily get your hands on, I don't think you'll go wrong. I do think the Primas have a few more colors than the Portfolios. So if, like me, it's all about having a wide range of color, then you probably want to get the Primas. I can get the Portfolios at my local office supply store, but the Primas I have to order because nobody has them in stock. At least, I mean, stores that I can go into. I don't go into Michael's or Joann's much because they can't breathe. So they may have them. I don't know. So there's just some quick, easy poppy flowers. Hang on a second. Oh, there. Okay. So I like the way these turned out. What I am going to do is I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to turn this way. There, and make the signature and the date part of the design. Now, of course, if I was going to scan this into a digital file, I could use one of my programs to erase that and just have the flowers if I wanted. So yeah, so the oil pastels are fabulous, but they do have an odor. Now, most of the time, I don't use them a ton, so most of the time I keep the box closed. I use what I need to, and then I put it away so that it doesn't really bother me, but there is an odor. So if you're sensitive to that kind of thing like I am, it's going to bother you. She works at I think it's the Chehalis store, Sue. My parents live in Rochester, Washington, and my two baby sisters / nieces, which is a long story we won't get into right now on camera, but they both, I think, live in Olympia, and Tiffany works at the Chehalis store, and if you go to framing and tell Tiffany I said hey. Thank you. So Ian, the other paper I really like drawing on just for doing sketches, dollar store drawing paper. It's very inexpensive, but I also use these Canson XL Bristol vellum board papers. I get them when they're usually like buy one, get one free. And they're great for just doing mixed media on or ink, but also just drawing on, especially if you're planning on scanning it and reproducing it, because there's no texture to the paper. All right, should we do, we have a few minutes. Should we do another quick one in one of the other books? So this one did bleed, look. So you can't do anything on the back side. This is going to have to be a single-sided journal. Let's work on the moleskin. We'll do something quick in the moleskin. Thank you. So the Portfolio are very easy to get. They're they're reasonably priced. I agree with both of those sentiments. In where I live, they're available at the office supply. You don't even have to go to the art supply store. Sure. Okay, so let's get another piece of deli paper just in case. All right. Now, if you don't have deli paper for this sort of thing, you can, of course, use like wax paper from your dollar store. It's just, instead of in sheets, it's going to be in a roll, but that's very inexpensive. If you have a restaurant supply or kitchen supply store, then you can get like boxes of deli paper, like 500 or 1,000 sheets. It's not expensive. All right, so let's do another one, and let's start this time with the Neo colors. So these are our Neo colors. We'll switch up our colors a little bit. I'm going to start with this yellow one. This is Sahara yellow. I'm glad I'm able to read these without any reading glasses on. First, we're going to start with our pencil sketch. Let's see if we can do like a little bit different shape of flower. And these are just, you know, kind of made up suggestions of flowers. They're not, I'm not looking at a book or anything like that. Now, I love the loose sketching lines because it adds to, you know, the charm of the kind of loose piece of artwork. If I wanted a realistic thing, then I would take a picture. Yeah, so deli paper makes great collage paper, and yeah, Costco has it. If you have access to a Costco or a Winco, I think Winco has it too. Sometimes you can get something called sandwich wrap, which is basically the same thing. It's not exactly the same, but it's close. So literally, I'm just coloring on my page with the yellow crayon. And we're going to go in with one of our brushes. I like this little Zen, Royal and Langnickel Zen number 10 brush. This is brush number Z83SC. For your information. And somebody's going to have to remind me later what links and things that I said, if any, that I would put in the description. You guys, I've been messing up on that lately, and I'm so glad. I love you guys because you all comment, hey, Gina, you forgot the link. And I love that. So keep doing that. I take no offense. I do forget the links. Things, like I said, have just been crazy around here lately. So me forgetting stuff, yeah, that's just par for the course. So look how bright that yellow became when I got it wet. Okay, we're going to go and add the distress yellow. Now, if you have a couple different brands of, you know, water-soluble crayons, you know, it's like anything else. Don't think like you have to just use one thing. Mix them up if you want. Who says you can't? And if they do say you can't, don't listen. Why are you listening to them? And I have no plan. I don't know. I have the urge to use yellow, so we're going to. Yeah, so if you have a pound shop, as they say in the UK, or as we say, a dollar store, you know, look there, especially if you're on a tight budget, because and you can't get around. Like I can't always get around everywhere. You can get a roll of wax paper or grease-proof paper or deli paper many times in the kitchen supply section of your dollar store. I gotta say, I'm liking that already. I don't know why I'm using yellow. I have no plan. I'm just, you know, my instinct said, ooh, yellow. so we grabbed yellow. I really like that a lot. Let's go with this bright green. Now, some of these stay water soluble after they're dry. Some of them don't. I do believe this Distress Crayons is one that does not. So once it's dry, it's there and it's not going anywhere. I could be wrong. I'm frequently wrong. We've had that discussion already. Now, when you color with them directly on the paper, as I'm doing, you can see that you don't always lose the crayon marks, the drawing marks. Now, depending on the look you're going for, that may be okay, and you may like that. But this is why you should do little practice journals with your supplies so that you know what they'll do when you're working on a painting. You'll know how it'll react and you can get some kind of idea. Yeah, that's a great idea, Lisa. I now that you said there's 3 more packs of them, I'm going to have to go see if I need them. I love the yellow. It's very cheery. Oh, thank you. 50p, Ian, is 50 cents US, isn't it? $2 shop. Well, whatever your budget shop is, go there first. That's what I would do. It's what I do. What do you mean what I would do? It's what I do. I kind of want to add some turquoise to that because, you know, that's what I do, right? If we mix it too much with the yellow, we're going to get green flowers, though. I'm wondering if we should do orange instead. That might be interesting. Let's see. Let's try another Neocolor crayon. This is Neocolor. Oh, this is just orange. So when you're, you know, building up colors like this in something, you know, I want to add turquoise to this, but I really kind of can't because the yellow, if I do that on these flowers, it'll just turn green. It won't be attractive. So I'm choosing orange instead. It can mix with the yellow and it'll be okay. So remember your colors. You don't want to get brown. Oops. Did you see what I did? I dipped this end in the water. Remember your colors. You don't want to get brown flowers or, you know, green flowers, unless that's what you're going for. Now you can also activate your crayons with a clear gesso or matte medium instead of water. So remember that. And then in theory, once it's dry, it shouldn't move around. In my experience, it still moves around a little bit, but a lot less than if you don't do that. Where's that color? I like that color. Yeah, I don't know what the exchange rate is right now. Not that I can keep track of that on any given day. That's what computers are for, right? My brain is so fried, you guys. I spent most of yesterday in a Photoshop class. And I think I learned a lot. My brain is fried. I have another class tomorrow, but it's on a different computer thing. That's another reason why, you know, I haven't gotten a lot done, because in all my wisdom, I decided, oh, let's do the computer classes now. Because that's brilliant. It does look like spring, right? So we're going to add some red. This is, what color is this? Ruby red. So I'm going to go easy with this red. I don't know how bright it's going to be. So I'm going to do one flower at a time. You can always add more. So just like with any other water soluble media or paint, you know, add a little bit and then activate it and then go back, and you can always add more. but it's easier to add more than it is to take it away. Now I have to say this paper is reacting better, and there's no bleed through on the back. You can. Ian, I agree with that. And there's something nice with using these crayons in that you can leave some of the, you know, crayon sketching marks and also activate some and get the color. It gives you a really nice look. Oh, will it lift? These generally, in my experience, don't lift well. None of them. They don't lift well. Not like watercolor paints. Especially like the oil pastels, they don't lift. I wouldn't even try. I'm losing track of the conversation, but hang on a second. I'll catch up in just a minute. So I'm really not putting a lot of this color on here, and look how bright and vibrant it is. So here, right here, we'll try lifting it. So I just put some water right there, and see, you can see that it doesn't really lift very well. It'll lift a little bit, but red, especially even in the watercolor paints, is a hard color to lift. Okay, let's see. Hey, Sharon. That's interesting, Joan. Vodka. I'm going to have to try that. I think we've got some Russian vodka around here somewhere. But we have the cheap stuff too. I won't waste the Russian vodka on that. Let's see. Oops. Confuse your martini glass for your water jar. Okay, oops. I've confused my coffee and tea for my water glass. That's happened. Hi, Sharon. So yeah, Ian, that's what I have found. So these, you don't really, you use the minimum amount of water to activate them. You don't really use a ton of water like you do with watercolor paints, because that really doesn't work. I'm going to go in with, I'm going to work on the stems a little bit. I'm just going to pick a color. I'm not going to think about it. Do I want to use that one? Wait. I'm going to go back to the distress crayons. I'm going to use this one, this peacock feathers. You know, I'm going to get my turquoise in there somewhere. So they're different. I mean, yes, they're water soluble, but they're very different than your watercolor paints. They're going to react differently. You're not going to be as easily able to do some of the washes and things and glazing. But if you get used to working with them, you know, you can do a base layer of your watercolor paint and then go in and add a little bit of watercolor crayon to give you a little bit different, you know, effect, and use them together, because we're mixed media artists, right? So we can break all those rules that say we can't do that. Yep, you say hello to Tiffany for me, Sue. She's a good kid. She and Megan are about to get married, so in June, I think. Let's try this one. This is the Target crayon. Now, if you do create a piece of artwork that you love with some of these materials, do me a favor, scan it, because, you know, not all of these are going to be light fast. And, you know, then a few years down the road, you're going to be, oh man, you know, all the colors have faded or they've all turned brown. Scan it right away. Scan it while it's fresh. And you're going to save yourself a lot of headaches. And at the same time, you won't have to worry about, you know, finding light fast products that are in your budget. Just use whatever it makes you happy and just scan it afterwards. Okay, I want to add a little bit. Let's see. We're going to go in. I keep wanting to go back to that purple. See, I love this purple color. I've got to be careful because if I add it into the wrong place and it mixes with the orange too much, it's going to make brown. Purple and orange make brown. I almost stuck the crayon in the water, which you can do, and I'm going to show you on a sample. So far, we've drawn on the paper and activated the crayon. We've painted the crayon with water and picked up the pigment that way. The other way that you can do this with any of your water-soluble materials, like your pencils and your crayons, is you can dip them in the water and then draw on the paper with them. And I'm going to... Hey, hello! I'm going to show you in a minute. The Target crayons work great and they're inexpensive. They, you know, they only come in the 8 colors. They're in the kids craft supply aisle. But they're fabulous. They work wonderfully. I really kind of want to add a dark blue. Let's see. Payne's Gray, Neocolor crayon. That's what I want. So this is Payne's Gray. Which I think the Payne's Gray crayon was the first one I bought, to be honest. Which those of you who know me won't be surprised. But I do think it's the first Neocolor 2-color I bought. I think I bought a few skin tones in the Payne's Gray. Because I think I was taking Life Book. So, you know. Okay, let's dry this. Yep, I agree with you, Ian. It's really good practice to just scan all of your artwork. So the Target, these are a kid's art supply. There's no information on light fastness or anything. My guess would be these are going to fade or turn brown or gray after a while, if exposed to the sun especially. Now your Neocolor 2s, I believe, let's see before I say anything. Maybe they don't. So your Neocolor 2s, I don't think, they don't have the light fastness on the crayon. The Daniel Smith do. Let's see. Let me look at another one. I know the Neocolor 2s are not the artist grade water soluble crayon that Caran d'Ache makes. They do make one that's more expensive, believe it or not. And it is their their artist grade. I don't see any light fastness information on the crayon. There may be some on the website, but these are their student grade crayon. They do have one that's more expensive. The distress crayons, I don't believe there's any light fastness information. Neither is there for the Prima or any of these others. The only one that does is the Daniel Smith. So a good practice to get into is just to scan things. And, you know, if you've done it in a book, it's not going to really be exposed to the sun too much. So you're probably going to be fine. The Portfolio water-soluble oil pastels, Eve. The Portfolios and the Primas, they're both very similar. So one way I kind of keep my lines loose and sketchy is I hold my pen kind of far back so that I purposefully have less control over it. Sometimes you've seen me do the sketches with my non-dominant hand for the same reason. So like watercolor paints and other water-soluble materials, the ink or crayon is going to go where you put the water. So when you're working with any of these materials, whether it's a pen or a pencil or that watercolor paints, just be conscious of where you put your water, because that's where your color is going to go to. I like that. I do think we need to, where's that purple crayon and my plate? So we're going to do this on the plate and just color some of the crayon on the plate. And in my travel watercolor, my travel art kit, I carry a small set of watercolor paints, but I also carry the 10 color set of Neocolor 2s. And I make sure that the colors in the Neocolors are different than what's in my watercolor paints so that I have a greater variety of colors should I need them. There we go. Because who doesn't love a good splatter? All right, make sure to sign your work. I should probably dry this first before I do that. There is a spray, Ian. It is made by Crayons. And hang on a second, I'll get it for you. That you can put on your any of your artwork, really, but especially your water-soluble artwork. And it does provide some extra UV protection. Let me dry this first. I love my Inktense pencils. I'm not a big fan of the Inktense blocks, but that's just because I find them fiddly to use. The Krylon makes a UV archival spray. Now this is the matte, and it has non-yellowing protection and UV protection. So if you have something like this, especially if you're going to hang it on the wall and you're not sure about it being light fast, give it a couple of quick, easy, light coats of this first before you hang it up and let it dry. Okay. And now let's see if I missed anything else. Yeah, so the Portfolios are cheaper than the Primas, but the Primas have a few more colors. But I have mine in my box together. I like them both equally. I love the Cryon spray. This is This is fabulous stuff. I just bought a new can at Hobby Lobby. I used a coupon. It's $10.99 without the coupon. Sure, of course you can. Sunshine Art. I'll go check you out. Yeah, so you can do that. And what I was going to do was, oh, hold on. I have no more room on my table, you guys. Okay. Let's just put that there, put that there, put that there. Okay. So I'm going to just grab kind of a dark color so that we can see it. All right, so one of the ways you can use and this works with any of them. If it's water soluble, you can do this. I'm going to zoom in as much as I can. That's it. All right, here's our little sample card we're doing. So you can do like what Ian said. You can dip your crayon in. You can get the brush wet and get the pigment off the crayon and then flick it and to get your splatters. You can also dip your crayon in your water. And then look what happens. So if you get your crayon wet, and this works really well too with like the Stabilo pencils, any of your watercolor pencils. So that's another way that you can use these. So think outside the box. Don't just color them on paper and then get it wet. Get it wet with a brush and do your splattering or painting. Dip it in the water and do your painting. Krylon has an odor, Adela, so you have to use it outside. Any of your Krylon, anything that's a spray can item, spray paint, clear coat, any of it, use it outside. And I have to wear a mask when I use it. And make sure I have my rescue inhaler handy. Yeah, so that works really well. And like I said, Caran d'Ache does have a professional grade version of the Neo Color 2. I don't know what they're called, and it's a water soluble crayon, but I heard it's a lot more expensive. I don't own them. I own Neo Color 2s. That's fine for me. And you can see the fun effects you get. This is just great. And the Neo Color 2s are really well pigmented, but you can do this with any. So you could do it with one of these. This is the Target one. My little piece of paper is full. Get another piece of paper. So here's the Target Up and Up gel crayon. And just dip it in the water. And the different crayons are going to react differently to being dipped in the water like that. So yeah, you have to use them outside, and you have to, if you have any issues with breathing or asthma, wear a mask, make sure you've got your medication, and probably don't do it when you're home alone, just in case. So this is the Maped Helix one, dipped in water. I'm just trying to pick some blues here. So here is, here's the Daniel Smith watercolor stick, and this is cobalt blue. Now you can, like these others, you can stick it right in the water. Now this one is, it does have the light fastness on here, but I can't read it right now. Oh, it does have excellent light fastness. So the Daniel Smith crayons, for the most part, some colors, some of the pigments aren't light fast. I think this one is one of them, Opera Pink. it has a light fastness of 4. It's not fabulous, but opera pink is not even in the regular paints, is not great. This one is excellent. So, you know, but I wouldn't be too concerned about that, especially if you have a budget. Just use what you can afford. Does anybody have any other questions? Now we'll probably do a couple more of these with playing with the crayons. In some of the other journals, we'll also be in the future working with pencils and maybe some markers and pens. I do have some of those that are water soluble. So those are coming up. Now I will have to say next week, I won't be live at all. And I know I can hear you all grumbling already before I even say it. There is painting work going on at my house Monday to Thursday, and sanding and drywall repair. There is no way on the planet there is not going to be too much background noise. So instead of dealing with that, we're going to just skip a week and take a little vacation. There are videos already scheduled to air for you. And I may tape a few things in maybe fast forward without any sound for you. But there won't be any live broadcasts. So, but we will return the week after, and we will return with a bang, and we will be working with the crayons and the pencils and the markers, and doing more experimenting with watercolor materials in the new journals and trying them all out. We are going to do watercolor pencils. I'm being forced to take a vacation. Yeah. So, you know, William, my painter, is a very nice elderly man from down the street who has a painting business. But there's no way, and I like him a lot, but he's going to be loud. So William and Sons Painting. By the way, if you are in the San Jose Bay Area, give them a call. Look them up on the internet. Fabulous family. They have their own painting business. They're neighbors from down the street. All right, that's it for today. Don't forget the most important thing, besides supporting my channel, like, sharing, and subscribing, go out and do something nice for yourself, okay? Because you deserve it. I know you do. And this holiday season is crazy, whether you have extra projects going on or not. It's just because it's the holidays. It's crazy. So remember to take a deep breath, do some art, do what you need to stay calm and relaxed. And don't forget, we're all here for you if you need anything. Join the Facebook group, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't forget to tag me in your post. All right, I'll see you all later. And now I got to clean up my office because it's a disaster. All right, bye guys.